The contents are hardenability, importance of hardenability, Jomini test procedure in detail, then the explanation about Jomini hardenability curve, hardenability and heat treatment, and the summary. So let's discuss about what is hardenability. Hardenability is the ease with which a steel piece can be hardened by martensitic transformation, or it is the depth of hardening produced under the given conditions of cooling. How the hardenability is evaluated? It is evaluated by determining the minimum cooling rate to transform an austenized steel to a structure that is predominantly or entirely martensitic, or by determining the thickness of the largest steel section that can be converted to such a structure under given conditions of cooling. And what is importance of hardenability? The usual method of purchasing steel is on the basis of chemical composition. This allows a considerable variation in the carbon and alloy content of steel. For example, AISI 4340. AISI means American Iron and Steel Institute, and 4340 is a molybdenum steel, and it has the composition range of 0.38 to 0.43% carbon, 0.60 to 0.80% manganese, 0.20 to 0.35% manganese, 1.65 to 2% nickel, 0.70 to 0.90% chromium, and 0.20 to 0.30% molybdenum. Now let us determine the percent variation of each component, each element within the stated limits. For example, in the case of carbon, the difference between 0.43 and 0.38 is 0.05. If we divide 0.05 by the average between the limits, or 0.40, and express this as a percentage, it turns out to be 12.5%. Following the same procedure for the other elements, the percentage variation turns out to be even greater, that is 28.7% for manganese, 53.8% for silicon, 19.1% for nickel, 25% for carbon, and 40% for molybdenum. This variation in chemical composition within a particular grade will cause a variation in the critical cooling rate, and in turn a variation in the response of the steel to heat treatment. Then the effect of variation in chemical composition for a given grade of steel. This figure is a schematic representation of what may be happen in actual case. Assume the isothermal transformation curve on the left side shows the beginning of transformation of steel with all the elements on the low side, and the isothermal transformation curve on the right side shows the beginning of transformation with all the elements on high side. The cooling curve for a steel part quenched under certain conditions is superimposed on the diagram. If the elements are on the high side, the cooling curve will miss the nose of the isothermal transformation diagram, and the steel will attain full hardness. However, if the elements are on the low side, the cooling curve will hit the isothermal transformation curve above the nose, and the steel will not attain full hardness. Therefore, buying a steel according to chemical composition is no assurance that full hardness will be attained under certain quenching conditions. Since strength is the primary factor in design, unless special properties are desired, it would seem more economical to base the material specification on the response to heat treatment, that is hardenability, rather than chemical composition. Therefore, it is necessary to have a test that will predict the hardenability of steel. The most widely used method for determining hardenability is the end quench hardenability test or the Jomini test. Jomini end quench test. These are the details about test specimen. The length of the test specimen is 4 inch. The diameter is 1 inch. Then the specimen is mounted over the fixture. At the quench end, there is a orifice. The spacing between the orifice and the quench end is half inch, and the diameter of the orifice is also half inch, and the temperature of the spray water is 24 degrees Celsius. You can observe here the two ground flats are created onto the specimen of the surface. The depth of these ground flats is from 2 to 4 millimeter. Then this is the test setup. The water is pumped from the water tank to the orifice, and from the orifice to the quench end of the specimen. Then the steps of the Jomini end quench test. The first step is heating the 1018 steel bar to fully austenize the structure up to 925 degrees Celsius. To heat the 1018 steel bar means 1 stands for carbon and the 100 part of 18 is 0.18% carbon, that is the low carbon steel, or we can say the plain carbon steel. Then we have to adjust, before the commencement of the test, we have to adjust the free flow water height up to 63.5 millimeter like this. Then after heating to 925 degrees Celsius, the specimen is to be removed with the help of the tongue from the furnace, and just after removing the specimen from the tongue, place it immediately over a fixture, and by opening the quick open valve, start the water flow so that the water will strike to the quench end of the specimen and the umbrella will form like this. So the quenching will start as soon as we open the quench open valve. Variation in cooling rates and that of microstructure. So at the extreme quench end, as the water comes in contact with the quench end, the cooling rate is very high, it is 315 degrees Celsius per second, and as we move from quench end to the top end, we can observe the decrease in the cooling rate. So as the cooling rates are different from quench end to the top end, we will get the different microstructures from quench end to the top end. At extreme quench end, you will get the martensite. After that, at a 10 degrees Celsius per second, we may get the fine perlite, and above that, we will get the coarse perlite. Then quenching, at quenching end, the quenching is to be carried out for 10 minutes. You can observe, because of quenching, the surface of the specimen is becoming dark. Then the third step, after quenching, the scale will form like this on the specimen. So the step is sandblast the bar, clean and grind to flat spots along the length of the bar for hardness testing. Ground to flat surfaces over the specimen of the surface. The depth of these ground flats is from 2 to 4 millimeter. Then the next step is hardness testing. Perform hardness test along the length of the bar on the ground flats. The test should be taken every 1.5 millimeter for the first 25 millimeter and from 1.5 to 3 millimeter thereafter. Then checking hardness on Rockwell hardness testing machine. You can observe the reading at the first point is 31.6 HRC. The meaning of HRC is hardness measured with Rockwell hardness testing machine with C-type scale. In C-type scale, the load is 150 kg and the indenter is diamond type, or we can say the Brill type. Then the hardness test index, after taking the hardness from quench end to the top end, this is how we will get the indentation marks. Then the graph is to be plotted between hardness and the distance from the quench end. You can observe that as the distance from the quench end increases, we can notice the decrease in the value of the hardness. So higher hardness is obtained at the extreme quench end with cooling rate A. So this cooling rate A will bypass the nose of the continuous cooling transformation diagram, and that's why the structure obtained is a Martenset structure. Then the next is cooling rate B. With cooling rate B, we just touch the above the nose of the isothermal transformation diagram, and that's why the structure obtained is Martenset plus perlite. With C cooling rate, we will get a fine perlitic structure. With cooling rate D, we will get the coarse perlite. So we know that the hardness of coarse perlite is 15 RC, hardness of fine perlite is 35 RC, and then hardness of Martenset plus perlite structure is up to 45 RC, and the hardness of Martenset is up to 65 RC. And that's why we can notice this increase in the